don't think
Ours is going to be.
September 20th, 2023. Regular board meeting to order at 7 p.m. Jackie, please call the roll.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Here.
Vanessa Berry.
Here.
Debbie Bryan.
Here.
Karen Larson.
Here.
Joshua Martin.
Here.
Liz Sullivan.
Here.
Emily Swistek.
Here.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, opportunity for visitors to speak. Public comment is for the general public to address the board. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide public comment. Seeing no visitors, we will move to agenda item number 3, which is to acknowledge that President Bartelli and Trustee Bryan reviewed the August billings in September, and that Secretary Sullivan and Trustee Berry will review the September billings in October. Agenda item number 4 is the consent agenda. Is there a trustee who wishes to pull something from the consent agenda? Seeing none? If not, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion on any of the items?
Yes.
Thank you.
On page 7 of the packet, so under number 12, in the minutes from the last meeting, it's the second paragraph under number 12, opportunity for trustee comments. There's some extra words in my statement about the trustee training. So it says Vice President Swistek mentioned that she, Secretary Sullivan, and President Bartelli had taken part in trustee training in 2017 along with the board at the time. So I think the with just needs to be gone there.
Oh,
In trustee training in 2017 along with the board at the time.
okay.
Will do.
Thanks.
Thank you. Jackie, call the roll, please.
Joshua Martin.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Debbie Bryan.
Aye.
Liz Sullivan.
Aye.
Emily Swistek.
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye, thank you. Agenda item 5 is unfinished business. 5A is capital improvement project, monthly project status update. Mark, would you please update the board?
Of course, I'm back. Sorry I missed last month. So we're getting closer to finish. A few quick updates. Signage repairs are still ongoing. In fact, there were a few signs that are up that are starting to, I'll call it damage or peel. For instance, the main sign that is on the side of the elevator shaft, the Lisle Library logo, corner's starting to peel. So the signage company is notified. They're saying they're going to come out and address it. That's why we have a 1-year warranty on the full project, so they will be coming back out here to deal with that. We're trying to get that scheduled right now. South lot lighting repair was completed. The lights are back on. However, 2 things. One, the inspection has to be recalled for. They wanted to see a fitting that's buried in the ground from the work, so we have to kind of re-expose part of the fitting that's down probably about a foot or 2. We'll do that. We'll look at that and we'll get that closed out. But the second part of it is, I think that's also the light that you guys probably all are aware that got hit the same day it got repaired. So that's going to be addressed. I think the library is looking at that in terms of a quote. And
Working with the insurance company.
yeah, figuring that out. Lighting control components, they're in. They're supposedly working. Training, to my knowledge, was not completed. They finished today, supposedly. They did find an issue with some exterior lighting componentry that will need to be addressed as kind of a final closeout. But supposedly, and I haven't tried myself actually in this room, supposedly they work the way they're supposed to work. We haven't even tried, and they didn't come to us for training, so it was almost like their techs came in, did what they needed to do, and didn't talk, but get that sorted out and get training done the right way. But supposedly they work, which is a huge benefit because now the lights don't have to be on 100%. Now you have control to dim them down, make adjustments, and everything else. So if that's the case, that would be a huge hurdle. Added paging speakers are supposed to install on Friday morning. So I would think it might take a couple days to get in there and get it all done, but it seems like over the next week or 2 they'll be here and getting that done. Added end panels for the book holds area are in order. They're expected in mid to end of October. And then along with that, the tops that are missing from the base scope of work have supposedly been delivered to a warehouse. We're double checking on that to make sure they actually get out here. We want those out here before October. Incomplete work, lighting controls, again, we think they're on. We're trying to verify that. We're trying to training, but supposedly that finished today. And the AV controls, still no update, still Q4 of 2023. I wouldn't hold my breath that it goes into January or something like that, just with everything we're seeing with these controls, but we are hopeful that we get this room squared away in Q4. That's really what it's impacting, it's just this room, so you guys are all aware. Project cost summary, really no substantial change. And it was like a couple $100 a day. It just, we got committed to that we were already plugging in for the budget, so no substantial change there. Invoices are on there, and I think this is the second month in a row, no change orders, and we're not anticipating any. So, any questions? I know we did talk about handrails a little bit with staff as we were walking in. The handrails seem like the rust is not coming back where it was, but we did have one spot where it got scraped. We'll look and see if that is a issue or a defect or something that needs to get addressed with maintenance type efforts. So, any questions?
Any questions for Mark?
These meetings are getting shorter and shorter for me.
Yeah,
So.
I know.
That's a good thing for you. Yeah. All right, good.
Mark.
Thanks,
you,
Mark.
everyone.
Thank you.
Yep. Looking forward to fall fest, by the way. So.
Yes, good. So are we.
Agenda item 6, committee reports. 6A is finance.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Thank you. 6B, personnel and policy.
We're trying to schedule a meeting. I don't know, did you hear back from?
Not yet, so
Everyone?
those of you who are on personnel and policy, we have either Thursday, October 19th or Thursday, October 26th. Do either of those work? And if you need to let me know at another time, that's fine. But those are the 2 Thursdays that make sense. The 19th would be out, because then we wouldn't have a board meeting right after. So those are the dates
Okay.
to consider.
Anyway, so once everyone lets the director know if, on the committee, if you can make either one of those dates, then we'll get it scheduled officially on the books.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
6C is physical plant.
Tentative meeting dates are out, October 16th, October 23rd, or October 25th.
Yeah, and as of actually polling, the 23rd and the 25th are the only ones so far that everyone can make. So, is that a bad date for you?
No, that looks like the 23rd then, because
23rd.
I can't do the 25th,
Okay,
so.
so then we could say the 23rd.
23rd?
Okay,
Perfect.
That's a date.
Perfect.
Saves me an
7 o'clock.
email.
Yes. Great.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, staff reports. 7A, director's report.
Okay, so as mentioned in my report, the library is assisting the village in promoting its community-wide survey. I think it goes live tomorrow for everybody in the community, either tomorrow or the next day. And we're working with IT to have a laptop in adult services and one in youth services, so it could have a shortcut on it, and if residents want to come in and just do it on the laptop, they can do it that way. And in other good governmental partnership news, we've also cataloged their draft of the comprehensive land use plan, so residents can come in and take a look at the physical copy of it. It's pretty brief. It's, I think, like 7 or 10 pages long, and people can make a copy of it. I know that they're updating it at the village, and so before they update it, if residents want to take a look at it, that's where it's at. You can find it at the reference desk, I should say. Under founder activities, it was just really nice to give a tour of the library to the Lisle Women's Club, and I believe it was President Sullivan's first meeting as board as the president, so congratulations. I gave it just a real brief synopsis of our timeline for the renovation, and then we walked around the library, and then I also left them with a bunch of flyers for Fall Fest, as well as some of our services like streaming services and our home delivery. I'm going to skip the Friends portion because I anticipate some discussion, so I'll move on to the other part of my report. I'll talk about it at the end of my report. Under technology, you see we have a new face here in the boardroom. We now have 2 full-time IT staff, that's Sandy and Chris, and Jackie, the library's office manager, has assumed the board meeting duties, and Chris is assisting tonight. He'll also set up the tech for our meetings, but he won't be taking on the administrative duties. Jackie will take that on. So thank you, Jackie and Chris. These changes will help us get to our IT goals. That includes updating our website. We would like to install some Apple computers, one in adult services and one in youth services. And we also need to document all of our technology, and that's been a long time coming, so Chris will be taking that on. And then speaking of the website, Sandy is working with our vendor to, we've sent him some revisions, so she's working with him on those revisions, as well as he's updating us to the newest version of Drupal.
I had
patron comment about the website. She was saying that the current website, when you view it on mobile, it's not like web responsive. So if you have your font blown up for accessibility issues, it doesn't respond the same way.
I know that.
So I'm assuming that that's something that would go into the new website, but just to make a note of that.
Yes, I know that that was part of our kind of scope for the new update, but I'll make sure that that's addressed as we're sending him our revisions and such.
What is the input, feedback, or approval process for the new website? Is it exclusively by staff? Is there a committee for that? How does that work?
We don't have a board
Right.
committee for that, but we've had staff department directors provide input, and since then, the administrative department's pulled that information, been sending it to him.
Okay.
And if the board or any trustee has any comments or recommendations at any meeting, take that on and take action.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to signage, we are going to change vendors for the remaining interior signage installs. There's just a few small things because the vendor we were using weren't happy with. So there's like the hours and address vinyl signing that will go on the windows on the south side of the building. There's the one that's the kind of raised lettering above the circulation desk, and then our bathroom signs, those beige signs, we want to redo. We just don't like, those were kind of like boilerplate standard signs. We want to redo them to make them a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And then I just have 4 quick mentions that weren't in my report. They're basically just some follow-ups. The self-check kiosks are now accepting up to 5 audiovisual, I know you'd be happy, audiovisual items. So if you remember back when, like if you took out like 3 video games, you couldn't self-check them all out. It's not working as expected. Number 2, I was interviewed this week for a chamber publication about the library. I'm not really sure when this will come out. They just interviewed me about everything that was great about the library. Of course, I talked about the renovation. I also discussed some of our more unique services like the license plate sticker renewals, our seed library, things like that. So when it comes out, I will let you know. 3, we now have a contact at Representative Tara Costa Howard's office where we can piggyback onto their e-blasts. So that can allow us to push our information even further.
Great.
And then just lastly, I wanted to give kudos to the staff. They did an excellent job at Depot Days, and they also visited Villa St. Benedict, and just the residents love seeing staff out and about. So there. We can move on to the Friends. I have a lot of information, and I just want to go through it, and then obviously I think there'll be some discussion. So as mentioned in the report, we've reached out to the Friends for an update on their activities and their board structure. And we have received several inquiries from patrons about their activities. So people have asked, you know, are they still an active organization? Can we donate books still to the Friends and things like that? We always direct them to the contact email that's on the website. So that's all we can do. LisleLibrary.org does have a webpage that features the Friends, talks about their mission and purpose, outlines their board structure there, and then lists their board members, and then just has other information that's been given to us by the Friends. Since the passing of their president in March of 2022, we haven't been able to update our website regarding their board, and that's not for a lack of trying. The board has a copy of an old Friends charter. We sent that out, and I've shared that, you know, with everybody. We do have a policy about the Friends. We've allocated space to the Friends in our storage room, and we have a book sale corner just down the stairs here that is currently collecting for the Friends. We also receive the Friends USPS mail, or at least some of it we've received. Spoken to President Bartelli about these topics, and we talked about updating the policy perhaps, and receiving professional advice because they are a separate entity. They're a 501c3 recognized by the state of Illinois. So that's some background. We haven't had an update since the most recent email to the Friends regarding their activities. They did, however, congratulate the library on our renovation as part of that response. per President Bartelli's blessing, I did speak with our attorney about the library's policy and agreements and the mail issue and things like that. So everything from here on out is related to that conversation with the attorney. And he says, first of all, the thing to remember is that a Friends organization is created by groups of well-meaning people to ultimately support the library. The group may have drastically changed from when it first started, different membership, but their mission is the same. It's to first and foremost support the library. That's what Friends groups are for. So he says, in a manner of speaking, it's basically a one-way relationship. So where the Friends, they serve the library, they report to the library, they benefit the library through programs or funding services, and gifting the library funds to support our mission. That's kind of a standard for Friends groups. So we are in a unique situation here because there's public space allocated for Friends book storage, Friends book sale, and we also receive the mail, which is problematic. But so it's not entirely a one-way relationship. We've got some stuff. So prior to the renovation and prior to the death of the Friends president, their members used to, for instance, stock the book sale down here. And currently, and for the past few years, they have not had a larger book sale that would happen in this room. And this was even pre-COVID because of the illness of the Friends and I think just less membership. The attorney also says that having a policy on Friends is okay, but it really doesn't hold much water because they are a 501c3. They are their own entity. We can't really hold them to our policy, but we can have one if we'd like. Unless, you know, if we have a policy, we can't hold them to it unless we have like a signed agreement with that organization. So that's something we could, you know, explore if we want to. He did mention again, there are some standards that almost all Friends groups abide by, such as annual reporting, accounting to the board, annual fundraising, gifting of funds, and regular communication with the library on their activities. So we're at a pivot point regarding some things that probably should change, and the board can determine if anything else should change after I go over this short list. So first, and I again talked to the attorney on this, we should ask the Friends to designate a new address for their official mail. Second, the book sale corner can be temporarily or permanently, and this is dependent on your feelings on this. The book sale corner should be managed by the library, and the funds would then directly benefit the library. I say this because obviously we're receiving important mail from the Friends, and when I mean important, like IRS letters, shareholder, other important bank letters, statements. And it's been the library staff who have been stocking those shelves for years now. Those are weeded materials. We're not stocking them with donated materials to the Friends. They're weeded materials from our collection. And we cannot have public service staff doing the regular work for a 501c3. It's different if our staff were like helping them out with a singular task. But if it's regular work of stocking, shelving, managing all the efforts for this book sale, it's just not proper. So moving on from there, I'm almost done. Since we've had little luck receiving updates from the Friends, our attorney is willing to draft a letter coming from the library and the board asking for a few things. And we can ask for the change of address, an update to their structure, board structure again, information about their membership numbers, a schedule of their meetings, because they're supposed to have meetings on the regular, an accounting of their fund balance, if they have a fund balance, any update to their charter, and an update to their fundraising and other activities, and ask about their future plans. So I know that was a lot, but that's just something to consider when we talk about this. But I just want to say one last thing. I do want to say that the library does appreciate the Friends for their donation last year to help fund the Lisle. And the library does respectfully recognize their organization, as we similarly recognize the Lisle Women's Club as both organizations founding the library. And saying that, I also would like to revamp the website to honor both organizations instead of just having a Friends page, having maybe a Founders page, and talk a little bit more generally about who founded the library. So now it's time to discuss, and I'll try to answer any questions that I spoke, that the attorney and I talked about if I can. We can also ask him more questions if you have some I can't answer. And we can also ask him to draft a letter if that's something we would like to do. Okay, I'm done.
How long has the Friends been in existence, or?
Since 1964, 65.
When was the last time that we knew of their registered address? Or has it always been the library's address?
As far as I can remember, it's been the library's address. However, I think, and this is just from my early 2000s here, I think they used to have a P.O. box.
Right, okay.
So is there any, you don't have any inclination that they would be coming back? Because they used to do like those Sunday programs here that I know people really liked. I mean, I know our senior population really looked forward to those travelogues and the music and everything. So that's kind of a real deficit in, the community to not have those programs.
That series of programs was really led by the former president who passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure as to how many members they even have anymore.
Yeah. Is there a way that we could make that kind of program up, that the adult programming will be able to make
Oh,
that
yes,
program
and
up?
we are already exploring Saturday programming.
Good, because that's,
for sure.
that those Sunday programs were really something that I know that population really enjoyed.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so.
You mentioned that most of the books that are toward their sale are weeded books. Do they have any donated books in storage here?
Yes, and they're not in great condition.
Okay.
That's why we don't put
Right,
them out.
okay. So effectively, we are weeding books, selling them under the umbrella of the Friends, even though that's really not really a Friends donated books or a Friends activity.
Well, in the past, when we would weed materials, we would give them to the Friends, they would go and store it. I mean, the way it used to work was any weeded materials, not all of them go to the Friends. Some we sell to Better World Books, and then they are given to other needy organizations. We just recently donated weeded books to the West Suburban Food Pantry. So our books do go to good places, and we do reap some money back from selling them to another second seller. But in the past, we would weed some books, they would go into a storage, and then Friends members, like two, would organize them, price them, and then bring them out and put them in the book sale. That's how it used to work. It's not happening.
Is there something that precludes us from doing that on our own?
No, that's why I said that I think, well, what we need to do, what I am saying we need to do immediately is our staff cannot be doing their regular work. So if the board agrees, we would change that immediately. Otherwise, that whatever sells off that book sale, I'm just not letting staff stock it anymore. It would just look very anemic, and it would be a waste of space, public space. So our staff can take that over, and like I said, it can be temporary or it can be permanent, dependent on the Friends saying, well, we want that back, we want to work with the library, we want to have Friends members coming in regularly, attending to it. I just don't see that happening.
Do we have some agreement that gives them a guarantee of space?
No,
So
we do not.
then there's nothing really for them to have back.
Exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
And
Now,
and they
when
haven't been
was-
communicating with
Right.
us.
Yeah. When was the last communication you had with anyone?
One person, I think I wrote it in my report or in an email to you, it was, gosh, a month or two ago that I reached out and asked. And then recently, then we got that response.
It was anonymous, basically, you didn't.
It wasn't-
know.
or it was
Yeah, yeah.
It was just-
It was not
inconclusive.
identified.
Not
Yeah,
signed,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Do we have any idea who's on their membership now, or is it?
I do know one member, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure of the rest. I do know that 2 members, or at least I saw 2 members at our grand opening. I'm not sure that second member is still a member, so.
Oh my gosh, so
Yeah.
they're really dwindling. This
I
may be-
suppose, I
yeah,
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any exposure because their official mail is being sent here, IRS notices? I can't imagine if there's any membership, they filed relevant state filings in the last 2 years.
That's always been a concern, so what we've done is any mail we've collected, we'd wait like until we've collected some, and then we would mail it to the one member I know that is still in the community. But I just don't think it's
No.
right.
Mm-mm.
In the past, again, the Friends members would come in and pick up their mail, but I always felt like that was just a not proper.
Right.
Having a PO box makes more sense.
But
Well.
the correspondence that we're getting has our address on it.
Yes.
For the Friends.
Yeah, that's, yeah, that, we've gotta fix that one.
Yes.
So by having the attorney draft a letter to the Friends expressing or stating our concerns about their mail and employees doing
Well,
work.
that's something we can take care of, the employee stuff.
But I
We
mean,
would
just
tell them
general,
that
you
now
know,
this is
Right.
the case. Yeah, yeah.
they have
Is
to
the board
respond.
okay with
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Give everyone
for
a
sure.
chance.
Yes.
Okay.
I know we're talking about the Friends, but the foundation also, is that, I can't remember what you had said before about it, they're related to the Friends or they're not?
They're not related, they're a separate entity. However, I believe that the one member of the Friends is also on the foundation. And the foundation also gifted the library, or donated the library some funds for the Lisle as well. So, but I'm not sure there's any other member of the foundation.
And we don't get mail for the foundation?
No, we do not.
Just the Friends? I mean, I know this has been something we've been talking about for
Yeah.
years. I mean, pre-COVID, we were talking about this just because of a lack of communication and not being able to find any information about either organization on the internet, on
Yeah.
social media, nothing to help get that out there. So I know that we've been talking about it for a while.
And it's interesting because in talking to the attorney, it's so important to remember that, I mean, they can do whatever they want as a separate
Right.
entity. You know, and I did bring up some, and I want to state this clearly, this is not what's happening or nothing I viewed happen, but should an entity use our name in a poor way or try to fundraise on behalf of the library and do it in a nefarious way.
Right.
We could then take some legal action at that time. But, I mean, anyone could form an organization, a 501c3, and say, we support the library
Right.
group, and just do as they want. And, you know, if their charter says we donate something to the library every year, then great. But we can't tell
We
them what to
can't.
do.
Right.
The weird thing is here is that we've got space, we've got storage, we've got the book sale, like, we have
Got
to
the
shore
mail
some
coming-
things up,
yeah.
the
Right.
mail and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any other?
So we're in agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with a letter, I'll share with the board, and we can ask those questions. Again, they don't have to answer anything, they don't have to give us their, their bank account,
Yeah.
their fund balances or anything. We just want to make sure that things, and they may respond and say, hey, we've got a group,
Well,
we're.
I mean, even if they do respond, I still think there's some things they need to address, we can't, a response doesn't mean we can continue in the way we've been
Correct.
conducting business. Even if they do respond positively, then we need to say, you need to change your address, we really
Oh, sure.
can't have the storage
Absolutely.
space. So I want to make sure we clearly convey the fact that we're kind of appropriating some public spaces and public resources to their organization that really shouldn't be that way.
And the board feels
Mhm.
100% on that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can address the storage area. I mean, how does the board feel about the storage area?
Didn't they buy shelving for it?
They bought maybe 6 of those, I don't know, they're called hefty shelves that you could get at Home Depot. And they bought those, and I don't think there's like a gift letter that they gifted that to us or not. We couldn't find anything, so
When was that?
many years ago.
Okay.
Pre-COVID.
Not
Pre-COVID.
recent, it's not a
No,
recent,
no.
okay.
Well, and is there any
Yeah.
hope of a book sale coming? I mean, so back when I worked at the library, I mean, we stored the books and they were not, it was not great then, but they would have this room full and big book sales and it was quite a to-do, but it'd be in the hall and, I mean, it was the same issue on a really big scale then. So
Yeah.
you've probably pared it down quite a bit, but it sounds like it's
There's still a lot of materials
yeah,
back there.
yeah, and they would just accept all kinds of donations. Now, you don't accept donations from the public anymore, do you?
We haven't because that storage area has been
Yeah,
full.
yeah.
And that we have not culled the kind of yellowed books back there. There's some really old stuff, and because it's there, the stuff that was donated to the Friends is theirs.
Theirs.
So
We're just housing it.
I mean, the attorney said the first step is probably to ask for the things we need to ask for now. See what the response is, and then to go from there with, I kept giving scenarios. And you can guess what they were, but
Yeah.
like, the end
Yep.
game, what's the end game? We don't know yet.
Yeah,
so.
is that, are they a health hazard at all at this point, the books?
No.
No, okay.
It's
Not
just old,
yet. Yeah,
dusty
well,
books.
yeah.
Right.
They're not moldy or dusty or?
Not
no,
moldy,
okay.
no, just yellowed and kind of tattered.
And there's no chance that they would be fit for sale, they're pretty much just, the Friends needs to decide what they're doing with them.
Yeah, and there's some materials back there that were given from the library to the Friends. So like some older weeded
Right.
books are back there that would be fine for sale, yes.
Okay.
And there's nothing that, also I'll say, is that there's nothing that stopped the Friends from having a book sale outside of like when we were closed during renovation. They could have a book sale like in a block party or
Right.
something like that. It doesn't have to happen on library premises.
yeah.
So the fundraising aspect, I'm not sure what's happened, and if there has been any fundraising, don't know. So first step is letter, and we'll draft that with the attorney, share it with the board, and then send that.
Okay,
Sounds
thank
good.
you.
Thanks for all your time with that.
Yeah, that's my
A
report.
lot.
Thank you. Agenda item 7B, Assistant Director's Report.
All right, thank you. So the event team met twice since we all last met, basically to finalize preparations for Fall Fest and then to discuss a winter event. But we're all ready to go for Fall Fest on Friday. So we're going to be having the obstacle course. Ninja Girl Coffee's coming out to have hot chocolate and coffee. We're getting churros. We're going to have the petting zoo. This room is going to have some take and make crafts. We're going to have a hay bale fall themed photo op out on the hardscape, which should be a lot of fun. So we've heard a lot of great feedback from the community about their excitement, and staff are excited as well. So
It's 5 to 7, right?
it's 5 to 7.
Okay.
Yes.
And it'll be in the.
It'll be in the southeast
Southeast
lot.
lot?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So in terms of parking for people, we're.
Pretty much everywhere but that back corner. Parking will be
So typically where you've done other outside events.
exactly yes. It's going to be in the same footprint as where we've done all our other outside
Okay.
events.
And we thank St. John for letting us. staff
Absolutely.
parking.
Staff are parking over there to provide as much space as possible for patrons. So
Great.
And of course, the new area outside will be open with the tables.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually going to have a staff member working that door and have that door open so that people can come in here and get crafts and have access to the building while also easy access to outside.
Great.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah. As part of our insurance package, Lyra offers staff an online training portal, and so I was given training on that and given access. So it's a whole bunch of different things. It's stuff as simple as a PDF that has training on it to a full webinar module, and it's got hundreds of different ones on there. So I'm going through and picking out what work for the facility monitors and what work for different staff to then apprise department heads of what they have available for everyone. So that's been taking a lot of my time. Then for the facility, so we discussed this briefly with Mark, the rails, the welds look much better, but we're still working on some stuff with that. We had lighting issues arise, which Mark also referenced. We had guys in the building yesterday and this morning. I'm going to be getting training on the software that controls the lighting sooner rather than later, hopefully. We're going to be pressing them for that. And then there's still some outstanding work for the outdoor lighting as well. But I'm working with Mark to make sure that gets taken care of. And then Sendra came out to repair the compressor was having issues last month. So they replaced some contacts that were in bad shape. I submitted a claim to ComEd. Have not heard anything back yet, but I will keep you guys posted if I do. He did tell us that we are going to need to be thinking about replacing that compressor unit here on the east side in the next few years. So he has reached out to his contacts at Trane. That's the company that would be making or be replacing the compressor to get me some kind of quote so we can have at least ballpark of what we can expect to spend on that, and has not heard anything back yet. I wrote down a couple more things that have happened since. So the collision that occurred on August 23rd, we got a quote for replacing that light pole, and we submitted a claim with our insurance, so I'm working with them on the next steps in that process.
And
to
that's
get that
the
all
light
sorted
pole
out.
that's like, if you go to the stop sign and then it's just straight ahead of that? Okay.
No.
Pretty much or to the
It's
left
the
of
one
it?
to the left.
Just to the side.
Yes, so it's the one, if you are stopping at the stop sign,
Yeah.
as you turn left, it's that first one on your right.
On the right, so like
Yes.
where, there used to be the parking lot, you'd have the slanted spots and then you'd also have the straight spots, it's like that one in between?
In that area, it's like where the dumpsters used to be, or is the dumpster still there?
No, the dumpsters are back to their normal spot now.
Near there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the one, honestly, if you were going out what the old entrance is, right
Yeah,
right here.
yeah.
The one you'd run into if you just kept walking
Oh,
straight.
okay.
So that one right
Okay.
there. And that wraps up my report.
Great. Any questions for Will?
And that should be covered by the insurance of the person who was driving the car?
That is what we are shooting for. Yes.
Out of curiosity, which insurance provider did they have?
Oh, I don't remember.
Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
If
of them
if
are
I'm
much-
allowed to say it, I remember, but I don't know if.
Suggest not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them are much better than others.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of insurance companies out there, so we will, but I'm confident in our insurance company to,
Working with them.
working with them and,
Okay.
getting after them, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was, the library wasn't open when it happened, right?
No,
Right
we were,
before,
it was
right?
right before, so, it was around, cause staff were just coming in, so it was a little after 9 o'clock, or a little before 9 o'clock, right around
So
Okay.
it's
9.
odd.
And the person was just driving through our parking lot and,
I don't know. Don't know.
okay.
Well, I have a question. You indicate you met with Echo Clean twice.
Yes,
That is the contract where,
that is the contract that we are.
and how is that going?
It has been much better since I met.
Wonderful.
And I had their rep come out the first time, and then he came out just a week later to talk about it. So there's still a few things that I've had to reach out and say like, hey, make sure you get on this. But it's been much better
Great.
since we spoke with the
And
head of the
documenting
crew.
some things.
And absolutely,
More
yes, documented
clearly.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Thank you, Will.
Of course.
Item 8 is new business. 8A is the adopt ordinance 23-04, the budget and appropriation. May I have a second and a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance 23-04, a budget and appropriation ordinance of such sums of money as may be deemed necessary to defray all necessary expenses and liabilities of the Lisle Library District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
I will second.
Okay, so there's been no changes to this draft since the Finance Committee first took a look at it and the full board reviewed this document. Our attorney has also reviewed the document, put a seal of approval on it. So unless there are any questions about what we've already looked at, I recommend the board adopt the B&A as presented.
Any questions? Roll call.
Emily Swistek,
Aye.
Karen Larson,
Aye.
Vanessa Berry,
Aye.
Debbie Bryan,
Aye.
Joshua Martin,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan,
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Adopted ordinance 23-04. Thank you. Item 8B is approve the certificate of estimated revenue. I need a motion in a second.
I move to approve the certificate of estimated revenue by source for the Lisle Library District for fiscal year 2023-24.
I'll second.
Okay, these numbers come directly from the budget's revenue pages that have already been approved by the board in May. The categories there are just divided a little differently, but they add up to the same total. And I say that because there is a typo in the document and you have a copy of the correction. The typo put us off by exactly $100, so that's been corrected. And then this company actually, this company accompanies the documents for the B&A that go to the county. So it's corrected, everything's adds up.
Any questions for the director? Roll call.
Debbie Bryan,
Aye.
Liz Sullivan,
Aye.
Vanessa Berry,
Aye.
Karen Larson,
Aye.
Joshua Martin,
Aye.
Emily Swistek,
Aye.
Marjorie Bartelli.
Aye. Thank you. Agenda item 9, opportunity for trustee comments. Let's see, I think I'll start tonight. I'd like to tell you how excited I am about Fall Fest. It's my favorite, actually. Anyway, and I love the churros. I'm sure everyone else does. I also wanted to thank you, Tatiana, for consolidating the back pages of our report and saving some paper with all of the information with the different publications. And that's it. Thank you. Trustee Berry.
I had a great interaction with staff a couple nights ago. Alexandria was working the service desk, and my daughter complimented her lanyard, and it was some obscure anime or show, and they ended up having like a 15-minute crazy conversation that I didn't understand, but Violet left with like a list of recommendations of things to read and watch, and she was not asking for recommendations, but that was like what she was given leaving the library. So
So nice.
it was great.
Thank you. Treasurer Larson.
Looking forward to Friday. Should be fun. Great weather, too.
Very much so.
Yeah,
Hopeful.
yeah.
It said rain in the morning.
Trustee Bryant.
Well, I attended 2 events here in the last month that were just wonderful. I came to the cookbook discussion group, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Expanded my horizons, and was salads was the theme, and I met some new people and learned something. So it was really well done and well led, and I'll be back. It's pudding in November. So, and who knew there were so many choices? So, see, this is what you're going to do when the kids are out of the house, Josh. I'm wondering what he'll do when his kids leave the house.
Okay.
And I also came to the gallery opening, and wow, that was so cool. I just kind of just jotted that on my calendar. It's like, oh, I should go do that, and I was not disappointed. And what a neat, if you guys guys haven't walked down there to see it and read
So
about
neat.
it. And Ellie, a graduate of Lisle High School, which was really cool, and her theme is neat, and she was just so vibrant and had a shirt on that she had painted herself and was just popping around, and it was really great. And Xavier was there taking pictures. It was really, really well done, and just a lot of people, very proud Lisle moment for sure. So.
We have a lot of creatives in Lisle.
Yeah, yeah, and it was really well attended too. I mean, I was just surprised. I mean, her family, but then a lot of people from the community were there as well. So it was, it was really, really wonderful. So well done, and I too am looking forward to Fall Fest. So
Thank you. Trustee Martin?
Yes, thank you. So I will also state that I'm looking forward to it. It also happens to be my middle daughter's birthday on Friday, so can do a little tag team event there and hopefully bring in quite a few additional young people.
great.
I did want to add that I saw the gallery presentation, but through social media, and I was thinking to myself that, like you who attended in person, it looked fantastic, but I feel that there's probably an even larger segment of our general public that would attend. And this one was well attended, most likely because I know the family and I know that they have a pretty broad reach. But I feel that maybe we have a broader opportunity to publicize those. And I'm not quite sure how we do it. But tying that in with the website changes, I would be interested to know as much as I am able about what we plan to do in terms of developing that for the ability to further our communication, to facilitate, enhance, and supplement social media, and generally increase our reach virtually as we look at all of those, because events like that with the gallery opening really could be significant draws for the community, more than just those who maybe are attending here in person and see these types of things on a regular basis, and or our family members. So really, I'm saying two things at once here, both the gallery and similar events like that. I'm interested to know what we could further do through the website, and I would like to know and be a participant as much as I can in that, and knowing that also, to Vanessa's comment about accessibility, about the ease of viewing for those who might be differently abled in terms of eyesight or hearing, and accommodating that and wanting to make sure that we have a broad approach to that for as much inclusion as possible.
Okay. Noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary Sullivan?
Of course, the churros, I guess Fall Fest. I guess I'll go to Fall Fest because that's the only way you get the churros. But I also want to say, I was here till 9 o'clock one night in a meeting, and it was really good because I was sitting out in the parking lot chatting with somebody, and I don't know, a monitor stopped and said, "Is your car okay?" So it was really good because they didn't want to leave the parking lot
That's really
unless
good.
I could get my car going.
Yeah, it's real.
So I thought that was really cool. Was that you, Will?
No.
No.
I left my car overnight one night because it wouldn't start.
Oh,
Not recently, Will took care of it in the morning, but I was panicking. And did I reach you that night? I think I did, to let you know that.
I think so.
Don't tow it, please.
Yes.
But it got towed anyway. I'm sorry.
well, I mean, had you been there that night that I was there, I think it was one of the monitors just wanted to make sure that, hey, do you need help with your car? And I didn't, because I was in my friend's car just chatting, but, they made sure that I could leave, I thought that was pretty
Excellent.
cool.
Nice to hear.
Yes.
Vice President Swistak.
Also looking forward to Fall Fest on Friday night. So I'm hoping the weather will hold, because it's always nice to come out and on a nice fall night. I just remember the excitement of it 2 years ago. Just it was like coming out of COVID, and it was like, yes, and so many people. So I'm looking forward to that again. And then another thing I just wanted to just bring up and just kind of share and get in our heads for potential future stuff. I've been at a couple different places recently, other public buildings that have had land acknowledgement statements posted in their facilities. So land acknowledgement meaning what indigenous people's land we're on. And so I've just been spending a little bit of time reading about that, and if that's something that we would like to do here, just have it here. I know there's kind of different viewpoints about it, if it's accepted kindly or not by the indigenous peoples, but just something to think about, and maybe if that's something that we would be interested in doing at some point, just as I've seen it in some other public buildings recently. So that's it.
Interesting thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think Helen Plum Library just did it.
All right, hearing no more. Last item on the agenda.
Oh, I move to adjourn.
You beat me.
Second.
Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:50 PM.
There we go. Oh, I like the voice.